My son was executed on August 10th at 8:30 at night while he was in a gymnasium, working out, smiling, laughing, and having a great time, and not just wanting to come home. Because I didn't believe that my son should even join the Marine Corps, because I don't believe in what's going on over there. I don't believe that we should be there. I don't believe it, even more now than ever. Then he came home last year. He was in there for 2.5 years, almost 3 years. Came home, and my birthday last year, to surprise me, and told me that he was going to go back to Hawaii, and then he was going to leave to Afghanistan in 2 weeks. So he called me one night. I woke up in the middle of the night. I answered the phone, and he's like, Pop. I said, what's up? He says, you ain't not going to believe where I'm at. He says, I'm in hell. I said, what are you talking about? He says, they shipped me out, and now I'm over here training the police. And he says it's not a good place. So we couldn't really talk that well, and we hung up the phone, and he called me back 2 weeks later when he got some time, and he explained to me what they're doing over there, training the military, and he said it's just not a good place for me to be at. And he says, my friends feel the same. I says, I don't understand what you're talking about. He goes, we're training these people over here. And he says, and at the end of the day, he says, these people are going to turn their weapons on us and murder us here. And he told me, he says, have you heard about Green on Blue? And I says, nah, not really. And a lot of people didn't. Green on Blue, there's a military on military attack. So what he was trying to get to is that there's a lot of kids over there that are dying Green on Blue. And I found out that my son's over there training these guys, but we're paying them also. We spend trillions of dollars over in Afghanistan training these people over there, and at the end of it, my son said they're all terrorists, most of them. Not every single one, don't get me wrong, but a lot of them are. And he says they're evil people, Dad. He says these kids are beautiful. He loves the little kids. The kids in Afghanistan, when they found out that my son was executed, they cried and they were so upset, and they wanted to know where that boy was. Because my son used to turn around and hang out with the little kids early in the morning and fill up cups and make them stick their fingers in the cups and brush their teeth. That's the type of kid my kid was. He was just an all-around great, 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 lovable kid. And everybody was devastated when this happened to him. But it should have not happened to him if another parent would have took the initiative to step up to the plate and say, this is what's going on over there. I am stepping up and saying what I have to say because I don't want it to happen again. On August 10th at 8:30 at night, after my son was done training the military all day and the police, whatever you want to call those people over there, fine, and Greg went upstairs and got changed, put his shorts on and his tank top and his headphones, and went downstairs to the gym to go work out with his friends, and they were laughing and joking around about going home in 2 days, and they were so happy, all of them, about they were leaving. That night at 8:30, the superior officer that was running the facility out there, Sabor John, or something like that, I'm sorry, can't think of his name, or do I want to know his name, really? He had a T-boy in his facility, in the police facility, that he wasn't supposed to have in there. He was told repeatedly to remove this boy from there. He was a T-boy. And a lot of people don't know who T-boys are. T-boys are sex slaves to the Afghani officers. And whatever they tell them to do, they must do. And if they don't, they'll beat them and kill them. That T-boy walked into that gymnasium, opened up the curtain, and as crazy as it sounds, at 8:30 at night, there's usually 30 Afghans in that facility. It was a ghost town that night, and you're not going to hear about this, but I did because the Marines told me about it. He walked in with an AK-47, shot it twice. Greg had headphones on, from what I understand. He undid his headphones. As he undid his headphones, he was on an incline machine working out. He snapped the weight back up, and by the time he looked up, Nadin, that's his name, Nadin, a 16-year-old boy that was raised with hate, was standing over my son with an AK-47 that the chief of the police gave him and told him to go into that gym and execute every Marine that you see. He stood on top of my son first, and he looked right at him, and he fired an AK-47 into my son's chest. And then he fired another AK-47, another bullet right into the side of his lower part of his neck. then brought it up and then murdered Rivera, a 19-year-old boy, shot him in his neck, and then kept it going. Dropped it after he emptied out 30 bullets and left 3 Marines dead on the floor. Ran out of the gym, ranted and raving that he did something terrific. A month before that, my son was on the phone with me in the middle of the night telling me, "Dad, I just want to come home. I don't want to be here no more. It's not that I'm afraid." He goes, "But I know they're going to murder me here. I feel it." How does a 20-year-old boy at the time know that he's going to be murdered? And our own government doesn't know that these young boys are going to be murdered over there. 62 of them last year were murdered on insider attacks. If my son would have died on the battlefield, I would accept it, deal with it, and move on with my life. I cannot move on with my life and look at his 2 little brothers and just walk away and accept this. It's hard. It's hard for me. He went to kindergarten the first day, and he said, while he was waiting for the bus, he was so happy to go on the bus, and it goes through my head every day of him just saying to me, "When I come home from school, are you going to be there for me?" And I repeated it to him, that I'll always be there for you, Greg. Always. And you know what? I'm not bragging. I'm from Brooklyn. I'm a pretty tough guy. But it hurts me so much. I have to live with this the rest of my life. That I wasn't there to help him. And at night, I hear him all the time saying, "I just want to come home, Dad." It's not that he's a Marine, he had his boys. But those Marines over there have their hands tied. You know, there's hundreds of soldiers that are being murdered over there. Sneaky. There was one just recently, he was stabbed in the back while he was playing with a bunch of kids outside in front of the base. Stabbed him in the back, 26 years old, and he was dead. And he even told his own mother and family that he wasn't going to come home. How are these boys going to Afghanistan and knowing that they're not going to die in the mountains, they're going to die on the ground where they're supposed to be safe? We have to turn around and remove these boys from Afghanistan and bring them home here. People call for world peace. You can't have world peace if you have people out there that hate us. All I'm trying to tell everybody here is that you take care of people that love you and respect you. And if people don't love and respect you, then we shouldn't be there. And if somebody tells you they don't want you at their house, you're not going to go. Karzai said it many times, he doesn't want us there. Our young men need to be here in the United States, at the airports, throughout the borders, close everything up, and you don't come in. That's it. The ones that think that's wrong, the ones from the Middle East that live here, hey, you know what? God bless you. I love you to death anyhow. You're here. You're an American now. Okay, but if you don't like the way we treat you here, then get on a plane at JFK, and I'll give you the money for the ticket and go back where you came from. And just ask for, please, justice for Lance Corporal Greg Buckley, because he was murdered by a terrorist. That T-boy is not a green on blue. Those attacks are not green on blue as they try to make us believe they are. They are terrorist attacks. We are training people that are turning the weapons on us and murdering us. These boys are being slaughtered like cattle over there in Afghanistan for what? We don't get anything from them. We don't get our oil. We don't get anything from them. They got to let our young men and women home because we need our kids here. And I, as a parent, do not ever want to have another parent, especially in this room or anywhere, to feel the heartache that I feel. Or that my younger boys who are 18 and 17, to hear them upstairs in their room at night crying and asking me, why? Why did this happen to my brother? 9 months, no paperwork on my son. And they don't want to give it to me because I'm speaking out, but I'm speaking the truth. That's what they don't want to hear. The government doesn't want to hear the truth. Well, too bad, you're going to hear it. These young men and women need to come home now.